Hello and welcome to the Blaston commentary series or something. I am your host, Robopresident. In today's long overdue episode, we are going to talk about Blaston news. Well, maybe. We're going to talk about definitely my awful gameplay. We're going to talk about Blaston game theory and stratagem. And we're just going to all do it to the tune of my awful gameplay and critique it. All unscripted, because as you all know, I hate scrimps. Scrimps. Maybe I hate those too. Scrimps are probably like crons, I'm sure. Nobody knows what they are. But I also hate scripts, because scripts are for simps. So, today's episode is a little bit, what should have come out actually yesterday. I apologize for this. I was actually in the middle of recording. I had almost gotten completely done. I've been very busy with stuff around the house. And right in the middle of recording, my computer just crashed. That doesn't normally happen. And I was so butt burnt by this, I had to take a break. Because when you talk to yourself for, 30 minutes, and your computer just crashes, and you still have other things to do, where I'm in the middle of re-landscaping my entire backyard at home, and you've got other things and blah-de-blah-de-blah. You're just trying to get other things done. It just doesn't work. I don't know how full-time YouTubers do this. This is just a hobby for me. So you guys are insane. I've got a job. I've got 10 hours. Not to mention that, look, the vast majority of top Blaston players are just like 14-year-old kids who don't do anything all day, right? So I don't get it. I don't get it. Like, you guys are neats. Get a life. Just get one. It's crazy. Anyways, rant over. Okay. So, happy 3rd of July, everyone, for my American bros, my Ameriburgers watching. We are almost there to the 4th. Maybe you do care or don't care about America's birthday. Perhaps you're like me. I like burgers. I am an Ameriburger. And I do enjoy hamburgers, and it's one of my favorite aspects about the holiday. Yours might be the fireworks. Fireworks are cool. I live in California, so we have safe and sane fireworks, so they're not my favorite part. I enjoy a good burger. So tomorrow's going to be a good day. I'm going to have some good burgers off the grill with friends and family. Well, not family. Friends, maybe some family. It's just going to be a good time overall, and I wish everyone a happy 4th wherever you are. So, all right, let's jump into what our topic is today, as I am getting completely whomped by Monty Bond trying to practice my Viper skills, because as you guys know, I'd never use Viper. We are going to talk about time zones. Now, most of my audience is, I do have some people over in our sweet friends across the sea over in the EU, but most of my audience tends to be over here in Burger Town in America. And we've already discussed in previous episodes that Blaston's player base is a little niche and maybe lacking at times. But what I've gotten to thinking is, are there certain times of day that are most conducive for building your LP? Are there better times of day for climbing? And then I got to thinking, are there certain people based on where they live that have a more advantageous window for climbing? Because you got to remember, we don't have a lot of people playing Blaston. This isn't like Call of Duty where you can just play whenever you want, and there's going to be a good amount of people to grind out in life. So if you go playing Blaston at midnight and you live over in, say, Oregon, most of the world is going to be asleep. And when most of the world is asleep, all 5 people who play Blaston means your chances of getting somebody playing Blaston is very low. So I don't expect there. I think time zones play a big factor into your ability. I mean, they can play a factor into your ability to rank up. So let's, for those of you that don't know what I mean when I say things like LP or Q, I'm going to break those down really quick. Then we're going to kind of talk about what time zones might be best for climbing. And then if you're like most of us and you didn't have the happenstance of being born or live in those time zones, how to make the most of those time zones if you live in a not optimal time zone for climbing. So let's talk about LP. You'll hear this said a lot. Anytime you join the Blaston community server, anytime you walk into a Ozo lounge, whatever, people will say, they'll put on their glasses, they'll push them up to their nose, and they'll say, "What's your LP?" Yeah, what's your LP, right? It is, internet member measuring at its finest. Now, if you haven't guessed, it's your rank at its most basic form. But basically it stands for league points. Now, the way Blaston calculates this, I get it. Most of my audience is like, Robo, we know this. We wouldn't be watching your stupid commentary thing if we didn't know these things about Blaston. Like, look, I get it. But some of my audience might be new to Blaston and they don't know what LP is for some reason. So I'm explaining this to them. So just stop typing for a second. Anyways, look. So league points are awarded based on your distance from the opponent's their own league points to your own. So in this case, as we're watching here, I have 2,065 league points, and Fatboy John here has 2,032 league points, I think, in this case. So we're pretty close in this match, which means that if I take him out here, I think the most you can get, I think, is somewhere like 20, maybe. I don't know. I'm sure someone will type in and say, no, it's I've gotten 25 or 40 before because I beat someone who was like 3,000 LP before me. So, and look, I get it. But the point being that is if you beat somebody that's a lot higher LP than you, you're going to get more LP on your win. And if you lose to somebody that's lower LP than you, you're going to lose more LP on your loss and vice versa, right? So the game, the system balances itself out in that regard. Now, like for example, if I go up against somebody that has like 3, 4, 500 more LP than I do, I won't lose as much on my loss. I still will. You always lose some, but you might not lose as much. So the game will balance it out based on where the opponent's league points are in relation to your own. And if they're close to one another, like this one, you'll see here, so I get 10, or I got 9. So we'll give around 9 or 10 usually if you're pretty close. And then the farther you are away, it'll start to get closer to 20 if it's a pretty big win, right? It's like a jackpot. So the league points are your Blaston rank. And the way that Blaston does the ranks is it's a lot like any other traditional, competitive video game nowadays. You start out at bronze rank, and then you have silver and gold and platinum and diamond and all those things, and then you start to get into some more of the esoteric terms like champion and master, whatever. I'm sure some of these are in the wrong order. But eventually you get up to the final two, which are legendary and then overlord. Overlord having 2,000 LP as its cap. And a lot of us will say, hey, welcome to the real game. You made it. 2,000 LP. This is where we reside. And the majority of the player base, as we talked about in Is Blaston Dead, the video, this is where we tend to hang out. I'm sure there's plenty of other games that you played where, it's like you do something big and everyone's like, hey, you beat the tutorial. Welcome. That's sort of Blaston. You beat the tutorial. Welcome to real Blaston. That's level 2,000 in a nutshell. At least that's what it tends to be because the player base is kind of small. So, 2,000 LP is the highest you can get for a named rake, and then after that, you just rank up into infinity for Overlord. And then they reset every, I think it's every 30 days right now. Or it might be 60. I think it might be 60, maybe. Not sure. Somebody, here comes the comments. I can already see Sloyd right now. He's commenting. He's like, "Oh, Robo got something wrong. Oh, here it goes. I'm gonna get him." You know. So look, I get it. I can't remember everything. Okay, but the point is, after the seasons, because the seasons happen either monthly or every 2 months or whatever, then your ranks will reset back to the beginning of whatever your rank was. So in our case, because we're overlords, you know, at the end of this month, since, like, let's say because I'm 2074 right now, I'll reset back to 2000 if this was the end of the month. And then if you were a 1900, like a legendary or something, you go back to 1900 and so on and so forth. So that's how LP works. So now you know, if you didn't. Okay. Now, let's say I said Q and you didn't know what I meant by Q. And you're like, what does Q mean? Are you talking about the conspiracy theory? Do you believe in you know, child trafficking cult things? What are you talking about, Robo? No, I absolutely don't. In this case, no. But so when somebody says Q is just Blaston's matchmaking. So it just refers to, you know, obviously this is a 1v1 game. So when you press play now or fight or whatever the button says, there's a lot I can't remember. Okay, when you're on the spot, it's hard to remember these things. When you press the play button, whatever it says, then you go into the queue, so to speak, and then the longer you wait, the more you queue up with somebody based on whoever the available person is. The duel button, that's what it is. Based on their region and you know, whatever latency, it'll try to match you up. That's what we mean by queue. So whatever. Okay, so we've gotten those two tenets out of the way, LP and Q, right? So okay, let's talk time zones, because time zones can make a difference in this LP climb. Now, let me get something straight. The number one largest factor in LP climbing, assuming that you're winning your games. So we're going to make the assumption right now that you're winning your games at least 9 out of 10 times. And because losing a big game can hurt you, right? If you lose to somebody that's a lot lower than you or equal to you, that could set you back at least 10 LP. And that's not great. But assuming that you're winning most of your games for this scenario, then time is the number one largest factor in grinding for LP, full stop. So if you're winning your games, the more play time you add in, then the more LP you're going to have. There's no debating that. So, however, the reason why we're getting into the time zones is because sometimes there's a lower player base. If you can't find matches, then you can't put in the work to grind it out. And some of us, based on our lives or whatever, the time of day that we pick, we may not get the opportunity to, or we may not be choosing the best time to grind out those W's. So I'm going to start with my time zone. So I am Pacific Standard Time. I am in the great or awful state, depending on who you are, of California in the United States. So this means I'm on Pacific Standard Time. And what that generally means, let's say I take 5:30 Pacific Standard Time. So let's start here. Now, if I get off work, because I generally get off work at 5:30 Pacific Standard Time, then I get home by 6, I eat dinner for an hour, and then by 7-ish, after spending some time taking care of things around the house, I finally have time to play Blaston about 8:30 p.m. So actually, I'm going to take 8:30 as my time for this scenario. So finally, by 8:30 in the evening on a given work day or whatever, I finally have time to play Blaston. Now, how does that mean that I stack up with my opportunity cost, with my net of opportunity? You know, what do I have to pick from anywhere else in the United States? Now, granted, when it's 8:30 where I am, it's 8:30 everywhere else. So my own region, I can play against other Pacific Standard Time people, so that's normal. So I still have them. But what about my East Coasters? Because they matter. So my East Coasters, cities like Pittsburgh, Indianapolis, Miami, New York, we're all in that same time zone. It's currently 11:30 at night when it's 8:30 for me. So most of them are probably about to fall asleep. So that's, I don't really have great pickings there, right? So you're not going to really get a ton of games at the East Coast, because remember, this game is not like Call of Duty. It's not like Halo. This is not a game that you sit there and play late at night munching on Doritos or Cheetos or Mountain Dew or whatever, right? This is a game that you work up a sweat on, and so a lot of people aren't playing it late into the night. And a lot of people aren't playing it at all at the moment. That's what we want. That's the whole reason we make these videos, but they aren't. So we're not going to get a lot of the East Coast people when the Pacific Standard people are playing at probably around one of their ideal times, which is around 7 to 8 o'clock, because a lot of them are asleep. And then let's get to our EU people. So with our EU people in London at the time when it's 8:30 p.m. for me, it's 4:30 in the morning in parts of in the UK it's 4:30 full stop, because the UK is in all one time zone. It's in, I think, what is it, Western European time. So I'm probably not going to get anybody from the EU unless some kind of freak that's waking up at 4:30 in the morning to do Blaston first thing. Like, what are you doing? What? No, excuse me, like, how? Absolutely nobody is waking up at 4:30 in the morning to play Blaston. And if you are, one, I salute you, and two, you're absolutely insane. You're a wild man. I respect you, and I also fear you, because I'm not waking up at 4:30 in the morning to play Blaston. Like that. Like, I know Monty Bond, he's a UK player, but this was like recorded at like 10 a.m. on a Friday when I don't work. So that's the only reason this game was able to happen. Before this point, I had never played Monty Bond, because most of the time I play is during the time scenario that I just gave. So 8:30 p.m. for me means 11:30 p.m. for the people on the East Coast, and then for people in London, it's 4:30 in the morning. They're not doing anything. And then let's go another time zone. So for like Sweden, for Stockholm, it's 5:30 in the morning. So they're probably just waking up. They're it's utopia in Stockholm, so I'm sure they're enjoying their universal health care that we desperately need in the United States, and their public transportation that's probably also better than ours, and a lot of things that are probably better than ours. But I don't think who's waking up I'm not waking up at 5:30. Who's doing that? Not me. Maybe defer, but not me. So 5:30, also not great. And then let's go maybe to South America, because I know I can think of at least one South American blaster. So in Chile, it's 11:30 at night as well. So same as the East Coast. So nobody's awake. I'm certainly not around that time on most nights. So, and then the only other people that I would, and this is why I get Tim a lot around this time, is Australia, because it's 1:30 in the afternoon. And Tim represents the minority, because I don't think there's a lot of Australian blasters. So it's not like I'm getting a ton of LP grinding with Tim, because he's not a mine for LP. You see, it's not some easy challenge. Come on, right? So the point being, if you're Pacific Standard Time, your pickings are either only other Pacific Standard Time players or dudes in Australia. That's it. That's all you got, right? So let's flip the script a little bit. So what about if you're an East Coaster, right? So what if it's 8:30 p.m. for you on the East Coast? So you come home and you're playing at 8:30 in the evening. So maybe you're in Pittsburgh, for example. So if it's 8:30 for you, it's 5:30 on the West Coast, which I'm sure at 5:30, even though I'm getting home from work, around 5:30. There's still plenty of people who are probably playing Blaston at 5:30. And most people are going to be back home or awake by then. So they are going to have not only the same East Coasters they'll be able to play with, they're going to have Pacific Standard Time people to play with as well. So there's going to be a wider pool of people. And then, not to mention in Chile, it's 8:30 in the evening. So they're going to have whatever, the one Chilean Blaston player. But also in Sydney, it's 10:30 in the morning. So that they still have the opportunity to play with the Aussies. And so their player pool is superior in that regard to PST's. I mean, London is still kind of a no-show because it's still like midnight, right, or something. And they're probably not going to be playing around midnight either. If we're going to use the same logic that, if East Coasters aren't playing close to midnight, then I don't think a lot of Londoners are. And if you do, okay, whatever. I get it. You don't have responsibilities. Fine. You don't have responsibilities in life. Go get some. But Eastern Standard Time, they got it good. They have got it made. They don't even know it. So, look. Okay, so knowing this, if you want to maximize your LP progression, you're going to need to play at times when your player pool is larger. And this is especially true for us PST bros. Now, what's nice is it seems, just anecdotally, I have no evidence, because there's a ton, this video is a ton of speculation. I'm going to get that right out of the way. There's a ton of speculation in this video, and there's a ton of anecdotal and not really any hard science. But just based on what we know, because we don't have any hard player count numbers from the Blaston Discord, California tends to be a pretty good state for Blaston, so it's not all as lost for us Pacific Standard folks. So we have each other, but the Eastern Standard folks also have us at the same time while also having each other, and they also have some of the other regions on the planet. And the EU folks, they kind of have it the hardest. Our Euroblasters, I'm not going to lie. It's just hard all around for the Euroblasters. Which is all the more impressive, the fact that Lantibon sits there and grinds his butt off into first place, or at least tries to for certain seasons, if he's not being undermined by 24. Because, dude, like, what are you doing all day? Think about that, guys. Think about what I just explained about time zones, and think about just think about it. Anyways, so I would think that if you can help it, try. If you're PST, the earlier. Look, this goes without saying. If you're PST, the earlier you can play, the better. Full stop. Once you start playing around 9 p.m. for a PST, it's a ghost town. So if you're having trouble finding games on PST and you're like, Blaston's dead, this game sucks. It's because literally, one, because Blaston has a small player base, but the world is asleep. And PST gets the shaft because, I mean, we're like one of the last people still awake at any given time, which is kind of a weird thing. So yeah, if you're a PST bro, just try not to play after realistically after 7:30. 7:30 to 8 p.m. is when things start to die down. Now, how do we fix this eventually? The obvious thing is getting more people involved in Blaston, because then if there were more people in Blaston, this entire thing would be a non-issue, and then we wouldn't even have to worry about trying to maximize LP progression through time zones. So then this would be a no, like whatever. I wouldn't even care. Euroblasters, I don't even know what to do for you guys. I mean, some of you guys are doing fine, I guess. You guys got each other. It's okay. Whatever. I mean, most of your time zones over in the European Union are kind of samey. It's not Like, because with East Coast to West Coast, there's a 3-hour difference, and that can make things weird, especially once you start to get closer to the evening. With the Euroblasters, it's most of the time it's just in the EU and the former EU, former places that were EU. Most of the time, there's only a 2-hour difference because you have Western time, Central and Eastern time in the European Union, and so like the UK, it's only a 2-hour difference as opposed to someplace like Finland. So it's not that drastic. It's not like crazy. So, it's not like when I'm playing with somebody from Indianapolis. It's not a 3-hour time difference. So, whatever. So I would tend to think that if you're like me and you're Pacific Standard Time, just try not to play late. And if you're Eastern Standard Time, just know you got it good. You got it good. Count your blessings. Anyways, okay. So, time zone can help a little bit, but time in the market is best, as they say, because nothing is better. The one thing is better than time zone is actually just being in queue whenever you can, at any point, is better. Because then if you just sit there at all times and don't have any, you're a NEET, no education or employment or training, that is what a NEET is, then if you have time to sit there and play Blaston all day, then sure, you can just do whatever you want and grind all day. So, yeah, okay. Well, before we get into, we're just going to talk gameplay now for a while, but I want to talk some shop. So, first off, there is an iceberg video coming. So, I've been meaning to make a Blaston iceberg video. If you get those of you guys that don't know, there is an iceberg that exists of Blaston memes and lore kind of stuff that I may or may not have created. So it may be a self-fulfilling prophecy in making this. So, yeah, I've been meaning to make this video. I promise I'm going to make it, but literally stupid things keep backing me up. And I want to put more effort into that video than I do this. Because this, I just rant for, 30, 40 minutes or whatever. Watch some gameplay with you guys. We talk about it. And then I'm done. I do very little editing. But for something like the iceberg video, it's going to require a little more effort. So that will be coming down the pipe once I have the opportunity. Secondly, I've been getting a lot of requests about guests. People are seeing this as more of like a podcast, and I'd be inclined to agree to that. This series was more a practice for the. I had this idea. There's a fellow creator, Dr. Oosh Long, the Mad Doctor. We had this idea of doing a Blaston podcast. I wanted to co-host with him. I don't think we ever had the time to get it off the ground because we're both pretty busy people. But I wanted to call it Blastcast. I just wanted some equipment, and we wanted to do it bi-monthly. So I think it was every 2 weeks, or maybe it might have been once a month actually. I think bi-monthly might have been too much. And the goal would have been to do actual segments, bumper music, all kinds of things, and have a proper structured podcast that would be way more professional than this. And I still want to do that. I want to differentiate it from this. This is something more of a pet project for me. But the proper Blastcast would be a full-on, would be more of a production. So that would also come later in the future. And I think I would be more inclined to doing guests there. Although I don't want to rule out the possibility of doing guests here either. This is more so Robo's ramblings, because this is the point of this series is to make them quick and dirty and easy. Because I don't have to, I can literally just pump these out, talk, minimal editing. We can talk about it with the footage, and we just shoot them out in the algorithm. and get some Blaston content out there, because Blaston needs content desperately. Desperately. So anything we can do to saturate the algorithm with Blaston content, I'm open to doing, and this is one way of doing it. So Blastcast would be more of the place for guests, but maybe one day we'll put guests on here. We shall see. And lastly, I am still trying to stick to 3 videos a week. But as I said, the stupid computer crash that happened yesterday knocked me off my schedule, so I apologize for that. I can't tell you how frustrating it was to watch my computer just go into the shutdown screen right before my eyes as I was recording. I think I wanted to flip my table. So, yeah. All right. Now we're done talking shop. Let's talk gameplay. We are 20 minutes and 39 seconds in, and we are fighting Fat Boy John, Hungry Cat's biggest fan, as it were. Today's loadouts. After just losing to Captain Fab in the last match to his Bounce Vipers, because I hate Bounce Vipers, I switched to Tank Nova because I wanted to counter the Bounce Vipers. I was actively looking to get him back in a match. I was having a tough time dealing with the Vipers. Typically when I go up against somebody that has very strong Viper, when they put a lot of stock in their Viper offense, I'm going to switch to Novas because I want to block their Viper offense, because that's usually what they ride on. But unfortunately I don't end up finding him at all. So it just was, par for the course. They do the old pump and dump. The poot, he gave me the boot and he scooted. I'm sure we just didn't queue, but it is what it is. So I end up using this loadout here against Fat Boy John, and he ends up not being able to land any damage on me because of it. I think what I was going for with this loadout was my attempts were to proactively deploy these Novas, use them to block Vipers, and then typically I would move to a setup formation. So I'll take these Hurricanes and pop them in the air. Then I'll start by setting up some middle podium spam. Oh, hello! I walked into his combo, and then rinse and repeat. But now I have to stay on the defensive because he beat the crap out of me just now. I paid for walking up the front of podium, but I'm going to make him pay for making me pay. So that's a nice thing about this loadout is typically what ends up happening is people get spooked by the Tank Novas. They end up backing up into the stupid Hurricanes, and then it just kind of pincers them. So kind of a really cheapy way. This was my way to try to take out advanced Viper users if I was having trouble taking them out myself. Because sometimes somebody who's really, really strong with a Viper will just pierce through my my clamping. There's nothing I can do about it. So here we've got Poo on Poo on my shoe. He's going to Poo. It's coming. So let's see what we've got. He is also using a Nova of some kind. Let's see, I totally screwed that up. I think I'm actually using, oh, that's right. I'm using Bounce as well. I'm using the very cursed Luma I swore not to use. I think the reason for this is because Fab was using Bounce Viper on me, so I may or may not have been slightly miffed. But in this case, I was needing it to also kill other Novas. I think both these weapons should be nerfed, and hopefully one day they will, at least to an extent. And when I mean nerfed, I don't think the health of HP Nova should be nerfed. I think it's fine that it has shielding abilities. It shouldn't also be a trapping weapon. Anyways, we've already talked about that too much. I know I'm going to get comments about saying that one statement because somebody just went, Robo said it. He said he wants a nerf. And they got all mad because they felt like, I feel like somebody feels like I'm attacking you personally because I wanted to nerf your stupid crutch gun. Anyways, so Pooh is also using, let's see, I think is he using bounce or no, or tank? I can't tell. And I hope one day, if the budget allows and resolution's time, we can get ways to differentiate attachments. That would be nice and wonderful. But I'm inclined to think it's tank. So, still trying to push hard, clear out those Novas, and obviously I'm really not liking getting pushed into that corner. Oh, hello! That is one of the reasons I absolutely love the Hurricane split, because there are certain players who have really strong, I guess I just call it like, it's corner defense. They hug the edges of the podium, and this weapon punishes them, and it punished Pooh for hugging the podium, because he didn't realize those were there, and it gave me the win when I probably shouldn't have gotten the win. So excellent weapon. And not crazy overpowered, because it doesn't do a ton of damage. It's only 2, so it's not like insane. It does less damage than stock, but it's that slowed down combo time that helps, because you can push people into it. So excellent, absolutely excellent weapon. So going back to those setups, Pooh is relying on the slow hammer nade, which, you know, obviously I despise when it's being used against me, although I have been using it lately, just not this time around. I didn't use it in this build because it slowed down the build too much. I find that right now, in the current Blaston meta, 3.8 or below tends to be the best place you want your cooldown cycles to go. If you're going 4 or higher, it's too hot. You got to bring it down. You want to be 3.8 or below. So I'm sure the pros will come in and either agree or disagree with me in that assessment, but you want to try to stay at 3.8 or lower. And having the 4-second CD on the Hurricane helped me stay at that 3.8. And obviously the Hurricane's weapon, being that it has a little more health in the body of the weapon, helps with defense and drop blocking and things of that nature. So not completely bad, but another close game with Pooh. Excellent as usual. And we move on to the next match. Let's see who we get as I pace back and forth. Probably sweating up a storm. Mother of Dogs. Running the Feldax skin. The least intimidating skin in Blaston. I'm sorry if you use this skin. I'm sorry, Thodor. I'm sorry. I think Sloyd uses that too, right? Yeah, maybe. Does he use Feldax still? Maybe? I don't know. It's the squirrel. It's the squirrel dog skin. But you seem like a friendly guy if you run Feldax. You're friendly. You're just a nice guy. I don't hate it. You're just nice. But Feldax his playstyle is kind of interesting here. So he's not really comboing. He's just relying on consistent pressure. So anytime he's getting his hands on something, other than that grenade there, he's just throwing it out at me and just trying to put the pressure down. And sometimes he can get some good licks on me. But I'm going to try my best not to let him do that. So we're going to try to use, and so I'm also going to try, oftentimes too, what I'll notice with this anti-Nova build thing that I've got going on, using the dumb collision on the stupid Luma 3, is sometimes I just, and that's the hardest part about the Luma being two-handed, is I've got the Nova in one hand, and I didn't grab the Luma for the other, and I'm already deploying the Novas, and he's already deploying the Nova, so I got to grab something else to counter the Novas before he pops mine. So the cycle's all screwed up. That's just one of the hard parts about having a two-handed weapon. That's a good thing, though, because it balances it out, or else, you know, it would be wild. But All right, so that first round is over, starting with those lasers. I think he's using damage laser. Damage laser is so good for getting really nasty. It's like a little sniper. And a lot of people don't realize, because laser's damage profile is usually kind of chip damagey. So a lot of people don't realize that what's happening because they can't differentiate that it is not the normal laser until it's too late. So usually you can get some sneak damage in before the opponent realizes it's not the standard laser, if they don't realize the difference in time right away. So just an interesting weapon for 4 CD if you're trying to use it like a sniper instead of a trapping gun. So he tries to get me with the insta-pop there. That would have been fatal if that actually worked. You know, I am absolutely terrified of those insta-pops. I think, I don't know why I thought I was trying to shoot at that thing. I think I just had a moment of brain deadness as I thought that was going to come back and hit me in the back. And, you know, one thing about Mother of Dogs is gameplay style. He kind of reminds me of like a discount Wild Kyle, just putting pressure. I know I've said that before about some people, but it can be effective if, you know, pressure can throw people off balance on their combos if you just keep putting it. But you have to have good shot placement, and you have to have good dodging, or else you just fall apart like you did there. So, all right, we've got Mr. Monty Bond himself. This was not the loadout I wanted to use against Monty Bond. If I was playing Monty Bond, I would have rather been using something not this. This was my anti-fab loadout, so I already knew this was off to a bad start. Get some zap damage there from the stupid, ridiculous, overzealous wall. So I already knew going into this match, this was kind of a wash. So I'm not really going to take this very seriously. I think I'm just going to try to go forward and pressure him as much as I can and try to see if I can just kind of cheese a win. But I already knew that it wasn't really going to happen. So when I play Monty Bond, I have better success actually using a meta loadout against him. Not that I've ever actually taken a round off him, or a game off him, but I can take rounds off him using meta loadouts, not these weird player-specific loadouts. So, but basically I'm just going to sit up here and try to stick my arm as far as I can in his space and shoot the crap out of him. Because I realized that he has the shot placement proficiency of 24, but he lacks the dodging ability of 24. And I came to realize that really quickly into this match. So I tried to exploit that by attempting to trap him with this loadout that was not ideal, and then running up with Wildcat and then just trying to absolutely gank him. And it sort of almost worked. But the problem is, and like I said, is this loadout is too heavy for clamping, because Tank Nova is not conducive for an actual meta clamp. It does not hold up. Falls apart, and then I got zapped for no reason. Didn't get warned about it. But yeah, if you're trying to beat Monty Bond, remember he shoots like 24, but he doesn't dodge like 24. So just think about that. If you can force him on the ground and you have the reach, put your gun in his face, you might be able to get some good licks on him. So just a thought there. All right, so you got Mr. Pooh. I am beat tired now. So at this point, I think I lose this match. Also, not the I've been playing for a while. We've been going for 30 some odd minutes now. Pooh's also a pretty cerebral player. He doesn't tend to do the same thing over and over. He'll try to adapt. It's a mark of a good player. And he knows that I've been in queue, so he's going to try to figure something out to stop me. Because I think I beat him with the fab loadout before, the anti-fab loadout. At least the supposed anti-fab loadout that I didn't even get to use against him. So he's trying to clamp me, But you'll notice that he's being more conservative with his shot placement. So he stops using his Novas and his shields less often. And he's trying to throw off my cycles. So watch how Pooh plays here. And it works pretty effectively. He tends to just kind of wait for me to try to make my pushing in. And then he tries to go in for the clamp. And then he tries to overwhelm. So kind of a neat thing from Pooh. Pooh is still improving. It's crazy how much this guy is improving. I definitely see him becoming a top player very, very soon. For sure. I do not doubt this in the slightest. So there's what I mean by this like defense, right? So he's still holding on to that shield because he knows that he needs it to stop my pressure pushing. And then I don't know what the heck happened, dude. That freaking barrier was absolutely doing me no favors today. Getting zap damage from the worst stuff. So yeah, dang it. You know, whatever. It is what it is. So I'm pretty sure Pooh takes this one. So we're gonna start by trying to set up again, and then we start with some quick middle podium spam to try to get some hits in. He's still holding the Aegis, and he's gonna try to use that to block the shots. But what I'm doing here is I'm not unloading everything all at once because I wanted to get just little pot damage in, try to see if I get him to pop the shield, but he did not do so, which was not ideal because I didn't want him to have the shield for my forward push. He doesn't end up having it anyway. He brings it back here and clears out the Novas, and then his Novas return, stopping my push right here. So we're going to use the bow to pop some of those Novas here. Try to get some back bouncing, but my angles were not great. He's going to go back and set up his clamp and go for a push. That really mean lean push he uses with his height. And his Novas are back. You can see that the way our loadouts are cycling, it has gone into a kind of like a stalemate lock where both of our Novas are coming up at the times when both of our offenses are rotating out. And so now we've kind of come into this same over and over and over cycle where we both use our offense against each other, and then our stuff is just back. Watching this gameplay again, I should have just gone for the hammer shots and then gone for the shooting earlier and not waited. But I don't know if it would have made a difference because Pooh does some decent dodging here. I was able to do some damage. But I think I waited too long. And in hindsight, that gives him enough time to set up this really strong combo right here. And he gets some really strong damage in and completely takes the match right there in one fell swoop and takes the game. If I had not done that and not given him time to set up his combo, I think I would have been able to take that round and maybe take the game back. But I think I waited too long for that Nova. I don't know why I was waiting for it to spawn. So it was just a mistake on my part. So mistakes in hindsight, they are 2020 for sure. So let's see here. So I'm trying to change things up a bit. I think I was trying to lighten up the loadout. So I just switched to the, I don't know what I did. What did I do? I did something. Oh, I threw in another I threw in Aegis. Why did I do that? I think I wanted more defense. I think I felt like Pooh's because of his pushes. His pushes were too strong. I think at the time I felt like I could have potentially stopped the push with an Aegis shield toss, but I don't know. So let's see. I'm going to try to lighten it up again. We're going to go back to a meta clamp, but we're also, yeah, we're going straight meta. So I think I just wanted to get away from the weirdo loadout, but instead of using Raptor E, we're going to spend 1 extra CD for the Bounce Luma for extra demolition utility. So we need that extra time to take out enemy buildings. And so we're going to get Adasme, one of the 3 female Blaston Onions that exist, a Chilean Blastoner, the queen of the simps. So Adasme has also gotten very good. Her Viper skills have gotten scary. You can see she just nailed me there with that overhand Viper. I think overhand Vipers are one of the strongest ways to nail somebody. Especially people who, because if you can get someone to crouch and then you hit them with that overhand Viper, it hurts really bad. You can see she's already got me on the back foot, and I really don't have any recourse because my damage output is lower than hers, and I've got a minute to make up the difference. She's got me backed up with the Super Majestic, and I don't have enough time to make up that damage. She killed me with a weapon toss. Absolutely excellent gameplay by the Queen of the Simps herself. That is not me simping either, at all. That was a good play, but I'm not going to let her do that again. So what we're going to try to do instead is try to hit her with some back bouncing. Doesn't work. So she hits me again with that overhand Viper hitting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play it safe. I know that Adasme's dancing, dodging is not like dancing. It's not fantastic. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to fill the space as much as I can with projectiles, and I'm just going to overload her defenses in a very pre-clamp robo way, which was this, like, going to the back of the podium, using the spread to my advantage, and then just filling the space and being safe and not getting in, because she controls that front podium and she does not want me to get up in that space. So I'm not gonna let her use her bounce Vipers. I'm gonna block all those shots, and then we're just gonna try to keep nailing her from the back podium as much as possible, because she wants me to get up close, and that's gonna allow me to take that second round. And we're just gonna try to rinse and repeat one more time. So going into round 2, or round 3 rather. So she goes with that Super Majestic. The Super Majestic is a scary weapon. I just think it's too heavy for its own good. I think the Majestic Nade is so much better. That's the one thing her loadout needed. If she gets good with the Majestic Nade, this could be a very scary loadout, because it would be so much faster. You can see here she's sitting here with these long periods of times. She throws up her hands because she's got no weapon. She's waiting for the stupid thing to spawn. It hadn't been in a Majestic Nade, it would have just, it would have been like that. It would have spawned right in. That's what she needs. So we're going to sit back from the back podium. She tries to get that overhand, but I have the shield in hand to block right away. And we block another Viper. I'm trying to negate these Vipers as much as possible because I don't want these things to touch me at all. I would rather get touched by literally anything else. I'll get hit by the Wildcats. I'll get hit by the weapon tosses. I'll get hit by the... See, right there, I get hit with a bounce. I'll get hit by anything else, just not those. Because the difference in damage, I have to make up a lot of difference in damage just to make up one Viper shot. And it's too expensive. So, I'm doing whatever I can from the back of the podium to keep that distance up. And she's going to try to flush me out with the Hurricane, but with those Bounce Lumas, it was enough to end the match and take it back. So excellent gameplay. She is definitely getting a lot better. I think of all the high-level female Blaston players, she's probably the best at the moment. So excellent work. By far and away. Where's Cant? I haven't seen Cant lately. Cant is also another pretty good girl Blaston player. I haven't seen her around. She needs to get back on. Because they need to fight. They need to have a battle. And then that way all the simps can come running out, and we can make fun of them. Because I like making fun of simps. Alright, we've got Sinatra. He comes right out with the quick Viper shot. Those quick jabs, you'll see people do this with snowballs, but getting a quick shot with a Viper is always, and it's just like, it's even better. It's just better than doing it with a snowball, and he did it full stop. We're getting a lot of double Vipers in today's gameplay, but I'm not going to let him do this again. So fortunately, I came packing with the Luma to try to stop this crazy tank Nova spam, because I knew that it was going to stop my normal hammer placement, and it comes in very handy because it completely throws out Sinatra's his entire thing, which is to shoot these Nova balls out, and then he tries to Viper the crap out of me. But without the Vipers, without the Novas in the way, I mean, just dodge the Vipers. So the double nade thing is kind of, you don't see a lot of people using double nade anymore. And I think the reason why is because hammer nade is so good. There's no, you know, I think the two nades that realistically are the ones you should be using are hammer nade and majestic nade. You shouldn't really use anything else. Avalanche nade is not really good anymore. Another victim of over nerfing, unfortunately. Hopefully some attachments can... now, remember, don't make the attachments overpowered. Make them viable up to stock, so stock needs tuning. Hopefully Avalanche will get some love. But Majestic, man, Majestic's great. What a good nade. But Nova nade also just too heavy. Those nades are too heavy for their own good because they don't last long enough. So, yeah, it's just, I don't know, whatever. And Lance nade is kind of weird because then the other Lance, Lances are just weird in general. Lance is like noob bait. I don't know. I don't see anyone seriously using Lance stuff anymore. So, whatever. So Sinatra still focusing with those double Vipers. You know, the more I look at Sinatra's loadout, the more I realize it's such a weird loadout. The synergies here are so strange. He's got 3 precision weapons. He's got the 2 Vipers and the snowballs. He's got the 2 nades. And then the Novas. It's like very strange. He has no shotguns, no pistols. Yeah, it's just weird. So they're definitely out there. I'll give him that. But I don't think it's doing many favors. So getting some good hits in there with those bouncing Vipers from hell. I still maintain it. Send bounce Vipers back from whence they came from. Back to the abyss, to the void. And the match is going to time out. And that is it for today. All right. Thanks for joining in with me today on the Blaston commentary series or something. I am your host, Robopresident. You know, be sure to like, favorite, subscribe, all that jazz. Thanks for hanging around with me. And I'll catch you guys all later on the next one. See ya.